Opening a video on Thursday, Senate Democrats and economists argued that a federal default would bring disastrous, decades-long consequences if House Republicans get their way and raise the U.S. government's borrowing limit in exchange for spending cuts. Titled the Default on America Act, the proposed legislation, championed by the House Speaker, Kevin McCarthy, would result in devastating cuts to veterans' benefits, child care access, and infrastructure funding. On one side, Republican members of the committee argued that the House bill should be seen as an opening bid to get negotiations with President Joe Biden started. Biden has been repeatedly asking Congress to pass a clean bill raising the debt ceiling without strings attached, and has invited the 4 top congressional leaders to a meeting at the White House next week to discuss the debt ceiling. On the other side, Democrats warned that going through with this proposal would cause widespread economic pain while gutting basic federal programs essential to America's economic strength. 3 economists have already testified to the committee that a default would prove calamitous for both the country and global markets, with a severe recession in the U.S. being a likely outcome if lawmakers fail to address the debt ceiling in time. To back up their argument, the economists warned that the U.S. unemployment rate would rise and the gross domestic product, GDP, would experience a sharp drop if the proposed Republican bill were to go through. Dr. Mark Zandi, chief economist of Moody's Analytics, has even said the current risk of an American recession is uncomfortably high, making the House bill even more dangerous. The Treasury Secretary, Janet Yellen, has sent a letter to congressional leaders informing them of the U.S. government's possible inability to cover its financial obligations as early as June 1st if this issue is not addressed. Politicians on both sides have agreed that something needs to be done to address the unsustainable trajectory of America's debt, but have yet to settle on a consensus solution. Senate Democrats have proposed raising the debt ceiling until December 2024 while avoiding revisiting the issue until after the next presidential election. On the other hand, House Democrats have launched a long-shot bid to pass a clean bill raising the debt ceiling, but the chances of 5 Republican lawmakers joining that effort remain slim. President Biden has not wavered in his stance so far, having recently said that America is not a deadbeat nation, and that the debt ceiling should not be a pawn in Republicans' "Make America Great Again" ploy. In the president's eyes, the debt ceiling should be increased without any strings attached, and a meaningful conversation about budgetary reform can take place afterwards. Conclusion: as the clock is ticking and the risk of an American recession becoming increasingly real, Congress should work diligently to avert a debt crisis before it's too late. Raising the debt limit has historically been one of the obvious solutions, but the longer President Biden avoids negotiations, the closer the U.S. gets to experiencing its first-ever federal default. To stop this from happening, politicians from both sides need to come together and enact a plan that will protect the American people and the economy, working on an opening bid that will be accepted by both parties in the name of restoring the nation's financial stability.